right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Onebar with Lupagus and Mr. Luke Braun from Locked On Vikings. I think this is like the fourth or fifth time. Luke's been on, and he keeps coming back. We greatly appreciate it, man.
I love coming on. You guys are so fun.
Came back a second time.
Yeah, that was shocking. We're glad you're safe. We know you're out there in LA, but you gave us a scoop. It sounds like you're doing well out there. So wonderful to hear. I know you were one of the first guys I thought of. I mean, usually I think of you a lot anyways, but when I heard this going down,
I appreciate it. Wow. Yeah, we're doing all right. We're not in particularly danger zone personally. Some friends are in rougher spots, but so we're watching everything, watching smoke and all that. But it's interesting. A whole bunch of the actual Rams got evacuated, like staff and players.
Oh wow!
By one of them because like the big fire is like pretty close to the Rams facility, and they all live near there. And then another one sprung up over there, and a bunch of them had to like evacuate on Thursday.
Well, let's go right into one of the questions we have, and that is like clearly this has to have not only just moving to Arizona, but everything you just said. I mean, it's stupid to think this does not have an impact on the game, right?
Yeah, it's just a completely unknowable one. Like, I don't know how emotionally, I don't know any Rams players. I don't know how they will emotionally respond. Sometimes people get up and it's just, it becomes something to overcome and it's a motivator. And sometimes, your head's out of it or whatever. Obviously, the home field advantage and all that stuff matters too. But I've seen a bit of a coming together, and I've enjoyed that some. Some people were a little bit too excited to be like, "Ooh, what if we got home field advantage?" Like, it's not about you. Like, shut up.
That's weird.
But I've seen a lot. The Wilfs donating a lot, and Minnesota community kind of reaching out and helping the Rams community a little bit. I was at the last game. It was all very friendly. So hopefully that can continue, and the powers that be in Minnesota can keep on helping out in LA where it's needed.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about Sam's performance last week. Was that a fluke, or did the Rams expose something or the Lions expose something the Rams can take advantage of on Monday night?
I don't think it was like there was like a secret keyword that they exposed or anything like that. I think Sam just choked. It was very like everything that caused like the misses. They were high. His feet were a little bit. There was like extra to his feet. The process was either rushed or like overly unrushed, and then suddenly he was late. To me, to try to psychoanalyze it, that pressure of that game was insane. It felt like we were walking into an NFC Championship game. It really did. And I think that pressure got to the players. On defense, Sam Darnold, the O-line completely, like Cam Robinson and Blake Brandel in particular, they didn't keep their levels with each other as well as they're supposed to. They lost like there's a certain continuity there. Like you should be able, especially when you're on the slide side of a pass protection, you should be able to essentially point a laser pointer through one guy's hip, and it should go through the next guy's hips too. And they just totally lost their angles, and they became like going through the big doors at US Bank Stadium. It lets everything through. And so that led to a bunch of pressure, but really with Darnold, like that, just to say it wasn't all his fault probably is important, but like a lot of it was, but it was just pressure. And so looking at now, you're in the playoffs. It's not like there's that like less pressure. You got to learn how to deal with that. So I don't know if that like the question of will it happen again is one I can't answer, but I don't think that it was like some schematic, the code was cracked or anything like that. It's just a matter of what's in Sam Darnold's brain right now, which again, unknowable.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Blake Brandel. Do you feel that that experiment of him is over after this year?
I don't know about over. I'm putting him in the category of I would love to get him competition. Maybe that's Ed Ingram. Like I did Brandel and Ingram up there, bring Reisner back or something like that, or kind of do the same thing where you've got these three guys, which one is better, add like one third round rookie into the mix and then like see what happens. I don't think it's, let's cut him, tie him to a rocket, fire him off to Mars, and then like go, trade for Kevin Zeitler or something like that. Like I don't think you have to. Like
that's what we just did a video on.
That was aggressive.
Oh really? Well, he'd be a free agent, but yeah, I don't know. Like I don't think you have to go hit nuclear buttons. I would love to give him someone to beat in training camp. But this is only his second year playing guard. And the mistakes that have happened are kind of, you're not used to the nuances of this position versus how spatial tackle is, which is what he played all the way up through 2022.
Well, you wrote about somebody else this week on Wide Left who is struggling, and that is our kicker, Will Reichert. I'm not going to go into the article. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet. But how are you going to feel? Yeah, how are you going to feel when he goes out there on Monday night, trots out there for a 48-yard field goal attempt? Confidence high, low, scared?
I mean, look, you just won't know. I will say about Reichert, the issues that have caused misses are pretty small. And if you'll notice, all the misses go right at the upright he's starting. If he's on the left hash, it goes at the left upright. And then they'll just barely leak out a little bit. So I do think that his issue is fixable with just an alignment thing. It's like if you guys golf, it's like, oh, wow, I've got a slice. I'll just aim left. I think you could kind of do the same thing and hopefully, just aim a little bit more inside. And he's had trouble recalibrating that after some time off. But I think under 50, I still feel all right. Over 50, yeah, you call these coin flips. I'm not sure if you're going to get it, but you never walk up to an over 50-yard field goal and go, okay, yeah, this one's going in. Let me go get a beer. Like, that's over 50 is never going to be a 100% proposition. So that's where I'm at. A lot of his kicks have been longer, and that has hurt his field goal percentage. Not to make that excuse, like he does. There is an issue there, and I go over it in a few different theories for what it could be. It's just really hard to know with kicking because the tiniest little hitch in your giddy up can cause that thing. A 50-yard kick that can cause that thing to miss by several yards. And it's really hard to see on the camera that's all zoomed out. It's small and pixelated, so it's hard to tell, but I think I feel reasonably okay saying that the issue is much more likely to show up on over 50 kicks. Anything that's 45 and under, he should still be all right. And now that I said that, he'll miss 2 30-yarders or something like that.
Gonna happen.
What about his kickoff? You worry about that? I mean,
that was the worst thing.
Oh, he just mishit that one. Matt Daniels talked about that one. He was just like, "Yep," just kind of bonked that one. Like, okay, well, don't do that again, you idiot. Jesus Christ!
Wasn't great either. His hook and left, it just barely made it in.
Do you think Will Reichert swears?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you think Will Reichert swears? He looks like somebody just maybe a little gosh darner after he misses it.
You know what? I bet he swears, but he's bad at it.
You're right.
It feels kind of forced.
Make any sense.
Yeah. Either that or he is the filthiest guy you've ever met.
Yeah.
God, I hope so. I hope so. That would be beautiful.
He looks so innocent if he's really filthy.
Yeah, right.
Nasty
it's
Will.
Like have you ever invited a quiet kid into your friend group and then they kind of start letting loose a little bit, but then they go way too far, way too fast. You're like, whoa, dude.
They're the most perverted ones.
And it's like, oh, you're real freaky. And then it's like, you're in the group now.
That's Onebar. That's how we became friends. To a T.
We got to talk Sam again real quick. So, I mean, obviously, Twitter, the big talker, just what are they going to do with him? What are they going to? If you're Kwesi, is it thanks for the good, regardless of what he does? Thanks, good luck, JJ, hello? Or do you actually, do you still think it's potentially they bring him back?
My understanding is that emotions have come into play here. Especially with Kevin O'Connell and how much Sam Darnold means to him. I mean, you saw the locker room and all that. There's an emotional component here that was not present last time they had this conversation of what if Sam Darnold is good. They'll sit down. They'll no stone unturned. They'll sit down in May and be like, what if this dude wins 14 games? Are we keeping him? And then they go, well, in that case, he's probably expensive. And, then we either have to talk about tagging him or we'll probably just let him walk and go get his $50 million and we won't pay that. We got JJ McCarthy. That was kind of the conversation until it got emotional and went, oh man, but I really like this guy and I want to do right by this guy. So I don't know. I think the option that has been floated, Diana Rossini floated an option a couple weeks ago. That was the tag. Tag him, do one more year, let JJ McCarthy get a true development year that's not a knee rehab year, and kind of run back the same apparatus you had this year, which is, when JJ's ready, he'll go in. If Sam Darnold falters, we got a rookie to go to. We got all our bases covered. And you say, okay, let's just run that back with a franchise tag. And then it's not long-term, right? You're not getting in the way of doing something like, say, extending Byron Murphy or, signing a big cornerback to a 4-year deal or something. Like, you still have your long-term money. But I think that sours a lot coming off a stinker in week 18. And if you lay another stinker and you go one and done in the playoffs, and this is how your season ended, I think it gets a lot easier to let him go. But go beat the Rams. Go play like he played against Seattle or Green Bay, and go, oh, okay, that was just then that feels like a blip on the radar instead of the lights got bright and he totally choked. Like, the narrative is so different just by winning one. So the book, I think, is still being written.
Luke, have you ever thought about doing like voiceovers for movie trailers? I mean, right when you did that, it sounded like
in
a world.
In a world.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Apparatus came out really clean too.
Yeah, there you go.
It was good.
All right. Other than
throw in
Sam,
one vocab word that you would learn in like 11th grade.
All right. Other than Mr. Darnold, who is the most important player on the field for the Vikings this Monday night?
I mean, it's probably Justin Jefferson, right? Should I give a less obvious answer?
No, I think you just give the right one.
Yeah, right. I mean, they'll do. So I talked to Doug McCain. He does Locked On Rams. We did the crossover. You can find it on Locked On Vikings. And I asked him, okay, what's your Justin Jefferson move? And he said, that they are a pretty conservative defense, that they aren't like super blitz heavy. And I'll be really curious because teams that aren't super blitz heavy like the Cardinals showed up to the Vikings and played them blitz heavy, because people play the Vikings different than they play other teams, and Justin Jefferson has a lot to do with that. But the Cardinals came in and blitzed a ton over and over and over and over again. They sent 6, they sent 7, and it worked for a lot of that game. So I wonder if the Rams will also kind of move away from their identity. If they don't, and they just kind of play zones and be soft and take it, try to poach and do all that stuff, I think that sort of plays right into the teeth of the Vikings. But again, like, the X factor of Justin Jefferson is always how the other team views their best plan to play Justin Jefferson will determine the shape of the game. Is it going to be a man game? Is it going to be a zone game? Is it going to be a blitz game? Is it going to be no, we need more guys in coverage because we need to double him all day game? All of those questions come down to how they view Justin Jefferson and has nothing to do with anybody else.
What do you feel about this Rams secondary? We had on our show, we had Jake Ellenbogen, who covers the Rams. He came on and was like, I mean, he likes to, I feel like he sugarcoats it quite a bit. He wasn't concerned about their secondary at all. He's like, yeah, they're actually pretty good.
But yeah, I like those guys. Like Cam Curl.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's a good group, no? Like, it depends on, again, it depends on what they're asked to do. I think some of the like premier corners, the big names in the league, the Surtans, those guys, do a lot more man coverage. And so there's more that's asked of them. The famous example I always think of is 2017 Xavier Rhodes. He played pure man coverage basically that whole time in, like, it's called like Mabel, but like locked off coverages where, he's in man coverage on their best receiver and everybody else gets to play, 10 on 10, which favors the defense more. Mike Zimmer talked about it all the time back then. And I think the big names do that. With the Rams secondary, they are not that much of a man coverage as far as I understand. They're not a man coverage team. So those guys, it's like the Vikings secondary. Those guys are playing well. Their job maybe isn't as hard, but that doesn't really matter in terms of, how you're evaluating those guys. They're doing what they're asked to do and they're doing it well. I like the secondary more or less. Yeah.
What's your phobia? Spiders, snakes?
Ooh,
mice?
It's a good one. Got to think about it. I'm not like super crazy about bugs.
Bugs in general. All right.
Yeah. No, not like I'm not like I don't mind bugs. They're fine. Some bugs I actually think are kind of nice. And like if I see like a ladybug on me, like that's
changing his mind.
You can walk around with me as much as you want. Yeah.
He loves bugs.
Yeah. Probably heights.
All right, that's fair.
Probably heights.
I gotta what? So heights.
Like if I look out over a bridge, I'll start to get a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was what scares you about the Rams? Like just at the Rams as a whole, like you look at them, just like, all right, this might burn our ass.
Stafford to Puka. Yeah, that connection is good. And Stafford, so playoff Stafford is a thing now, right? Because he's been in the playoffs, every year with the Rams? Almost every year. And so he has that playoff experience. Sam Darnold's never been in the playoffs. And a lot of this team has not been in the playoffs. But Justin Jefferson's only played one game in the playoffs. So a lot of this team, same with Hawkinson, like a lot of this team has not been there. So that kind of experience thing matters a lot. Like the playoffs are, ask any player that played in the playoffs, they're different. Nate Burleson has some great stories about this, about when he was a second-year player, I think, in 2004, the year Randy Moss mooned in Green Bay. And he was like struck by like how different everything got. And it's like takes some getting used to. The Rams are used to it. The Vikings aren't. And that starts with Stafford, who can get the ball out quickly, who can execute downfield concepts quickly, and be that sort of annoying quarterback we just cannot get to. That's what happened in the first game. Ball was out in 2 seconds every single time. We could never get to him because all of our pass rushes are stunts and loops, and they take forever, and they develop. You get unblocked guys, but they take a long time to do. So if you can be quick without being conservative, you can do that. That's how the Rams won the first game. Can they still do that? Their offense has kind of been cold, but things get different in the playoffs. Sometimes that wakes you up.
Nice. Are you ready for some quick hitters? Just a quick answer on these next 4?
Quickie. Rip it.
All right. First one. Will the Vikings pay Cam Bynum? Will they bring him back?
I don't think Cam Bynum wants to. My vibe is that he wants the market because he knows it'll pay him more, which is fair. Go get it, kid. But yeah, I think the Vikings will bid, but I don't think they'll win.
Aaron Jones, one and done?
No. Give me one more.
Yes.
Give me one more. He likes it here. Give me one more year.
Hell yeah. Jalen Redmond, starter next year?
Yes. He'll compete for it and win. They'll draft someone and he'll beat the rookie.
Wow.
Jalen Naylor, wide receiver 3 material.
It's another one I like to make him compete with somebody. Yeah, I think he's okay. I think the Green Bay Packers game was proof of that. We had a little dropsies issue. That'll happen, but a good game will shock you right out of that.
So ornery. Nice. One more. Brian Flores, do you believe his excuse as far as last time when Puka ripped us a new one? As far
100%. Oh my God. The second it was like, oh, he's playing and he's on IR, I was like, oh, we're cooked. He knew immediately, oh, he's going off.
Well, on that one, another one. Flores, you think he'll get hired?
Yeah, he's getting interviews. He didn't get any interview requests at all last year, so we're already further than we were last year. It sounds like it's pretty serious, so I think he'll take a job. I think the Patriots are going Vrabel, so that he's going to lose that one. I could see him ending up in Chicago and playing him twice a year.
Oh, gross.
It works for them, man. It's
Durante
like perfect
Jones.
for their whole vibe, like the whole culture that like the McCaskies want.
I think they need them.
You
All right,
think
well,
they'll
it's quick hitters.
Elevate Durante Jones in?
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. Or, you go grab people are saying like Lou Anarumo. I'm not into that at all, man. Like he caught lightning in a bottle in 2021 and never got it back.
All right.
There you go. Quick hitters, man.
Yeah, that was quick hitters.
Yeah.
Well done.
Oh, Gerard Mayo. That's the name I was trying to think of. Gerard Mayo. Also a Belichick guy. Come in here and let's go a little crazy. Give him some bath salts and see what happens.
I'd like that. I like that. All right.
One before you ask him about Monday night.
Okay.
What's your Luke Braun on a nice evening? You crack open a scotch. What's your drink of choice? A Diet Dew? Like what's your sit back?
How fancy are we talking? What kind of night? Because
I'll man.
I'll put down just like a Corona on a just a like. I'm not a fancy beer guy at all. Like, give me your like watery 5-cent nonsense beer. I'm good with that.
God.
But if we're maybe celebrating something, we want to go a little fancier. I'll go for a whiskey. I like bourbon. I like Scotch, Little Johnny Black. If we're celebrating something, if we're splurging.
Nice.
Otherwise, maybe
I
like Wild Turkey 101.
Jesus, I would have to have a diaper if I was sitting down drinking that with you. I drink the watery beer. That's all I drink. So noted.
All right. Final, Luke. Does the Vikings season come to an end Monday night?
Don't do
It's not favored to. And I think with good reason. Now they're going to probably have home field advantage. All the stuff you talked about with the Rams, maybe their heads won't be in it or something like that. I think they've got every chance to win this one. I think we'll know soon. I think we'll know early. The first quarter will happen. If they look discombobulated and sketchy and skittish and they look like the pressure is getting to them, it's going to be all about it. But if they come, it's going to be about, can they, pull out of that? And maybe that's a halftime speech or something you still can. But if they show up and they're on it, They show up. Oh my God, they score, 2 beautiful drives, 14-0 right off the bat. Game's over. Then it's okay. This is the Vikings. That's a better team than the Rams have been all year long. And then they can go flash all the way through.
Boom. Luke's getting us excited. I'm excited. We appreciate you hopping on. Locked On Vikings. Check out Luke. I'm sure everybody already has links down in the description. Hit them up. Luke, stay safe out there, man. We'll be thinking of you. Take care. We appreciate you hopping on.
Appreciate you guys. Always a good time.
Yep. Thanks, man.